Board meeting of the Santa Maria Benita School District is now in session. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Cordero,
Here.
Mr. Valencia,
Present.
Mr. Hollinshead,
Here.
Mr. Lara,
Here.
Ms. Cabral.
Present. Report of closed session. For items A, B, and C, information was shared. For items D, the board approved a settlement agreement in the Office of Administrative Hearings, case number 202-510-0184. The motion was made by Board Member Hollinshead and seconded by Board Member Lara with a 5-0 approval of the motion. Interpreters for this evening are Cesar Ruiz and Susana Pineda. Greetings and support are provided by Karen Ramirez Espinosa and Nacheli Santiago. Pledge of Allegiance today will be led by Gerardo Gonzalez Velasco. If you can take it. Over there.
Ready? Go. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And next will be our student leader advisory team, Mrs. Stanley.
Good evening, Dr. McDuffie, members of the Board of Education, President Cabral, and members of Cabinet. I want to thank the families in the audience. Gracias por venir, las familias, for coming tonight to support their children. Before I turn the mic over to our student leaders, I would like to say something. I know that you always associate this work with me because I'm here with them for the board meetings. But I need you to know, and everybody watching, that there is a team of individuals who work diligently behind the scenes to make this experience so amazing for our student leaders. Many of them have been working with student leaders even before I started working with them myself. While they each cannot be present for every single forum, they do support this work every chance they get. They are by far one of the most talented and skilled group of educators I've had the opportunity to work with during my entire career. So I want to offer my deepest gratitude to the following individuals: Veronica Tadeo Diaz, Claudia Zepeda Garcia, Todd Sanders, Ryan Hubbard, Pedro Garcia, Kurt Payne, Michelle Sullivan, Dana Martinez, and Irene Mao. This work would not be possible with each of them. With that, I'm going to turn it over to our amazing student leaders.
Good afternoon, board members and audience. My name is... Good afternoon, board members and audience. My name is Gerardo Gonzalez Velasco, a very competitive sixth grader at Fairlawn Elementary. I am here today for two simple reasons. First, I will talk about what it was as a student leader, like as experience at SMBSD, and two, give feedback on what you guys should do and not do. So with that being said, let's dive into what my experience was as a student leader is like. Okay, imagine this. You're in your classroom doing, well, normal things, learning, writing, thinking, etc. Then your teacher comes up to you and says, "You have been elected to be the representative for our school, aka a student leader at SMBSD," or something like that. I forgot. And in this case, that was me. I was shocked, confused, surprised, overwhelmed. I felt everything. And that was how it felt at the start of being a student leader. Now, fast forwarding to the present, aka right now, I've developed and improved my leadership skills. For example, my public speaking and the capability to introduce myself to new people like this right now. Now, with that being done, let's move on to the next thing. As a sixth grader, I've always said to myself, I wonder what it feels like having a junior high school schedule. So I have a suggestion. I wonder if you guys can make it so sixth grader can get like a first like a preview on what's it like having a junior high school schedule, like making it so students can change periods or giving them problems about math, science, history, etc. And for like a day or two, and for the things you guys should change, I think nothing. I love everything about what you guys do, and I hope you guys keep on doing it. Well, that's all I have to say. And I hope you guys like my presentation. I would love for this if you guys can make it happen. So that's all I have to say. And bye bye, and have a great evening.
Hello, my name is Amaya Ayala and I'm a sixth grader at Adam Elementary School. One thing you might not know about me is that I've been baking since I was around 6 years old. My favorite thing to bake are cakes, especially vanilla flavored ones. As a student leader, I am working on my skills to speak in front of a large audience. I am developing this skill every time I present in my class. My favorite thing I've done as a student leader is going to Cal Poly. I learned from the presenters how they start to build their futures while they're at college. I don't think that there's anything I want to change about my school. I think it is perfect the way it is. One suggestion I do have is that I want more after school programs that include the older kids and the little kids working together. I think it will help the little kids read and write more faster. Thank you for listening to my presentation.
Good afternoon. My name is Dolly Antonio Rodriguez, and I'm a sixth grader at Bonita Elementary School. One unique fact about me is that I create flowers out of ribbon. As a student leader, I am focusing on making my school a kinder place for all students. I am practicing showing respect and treating others with kindness, and I would like others to do the same. What I see coming into my campus is kindness through the power of compliments. Compliments help everybody to be happy and to keep making my campus a happy place. If we face unkindness, I will work on this problem by asking an adult to help me to resolve the conflict. There may be moments when not everyone will agree with my ideas. For example, I support the 49ers and people may not agree with my favorite team. To handle these disagreements, I plan to show patience by giving others time to speak. I also will remain open to feedback. Finally, I understand that leadership involves learning from mistakes and continuous growth. One change I suggest for Santa Maria Bonita District is to create more opportunities for students to be heard. One, one thing I feel we should work on is addressing bullying because some students don't feel safe at my school. One thing I love about my school is the sense of community and support from teachers. It should definitely continue because it helps us be motivated and valued. To close, being a student leader has helped me grow both personally and academically. I am proud of the progress I am making and excited to continue developing as a leader.
Did we have things to say?
I just wanted to thank, the students for presenting today. You all did such a great job. I'm so proud of you. I heard you say a couple of things that really resonated. You talked about going to Cal Poly and, the impact that that has on you. That's something that, we can continue to also want to see is more opportunities for you all to do that, to be inspired, so that you could see, it's hard to be what you can't see. And so if we want you to dream big by going to college or pursuing other careers, then, we should provide that for you. So I'm so happy to hear that that happened for you because I can relate to that. But I didn't get to experience that until a little bit later. So I think that's wonderful that you all are getting it so young. I also heard you say that you wanted more opportunities to interact the big kids with the little kids, right? I really like that idea as well. And I really appreciate you saying that you want more opportunities for students to be heard. That is like a big part of why you actually exist, right? Is we advocated for you to happen to come and tell us, your perspective. And I love how you're telling us what we should do and what we shouldn't do so that we could try our best, right, to meet your needs because you're the reason why we're all here today. You're the reason why we exist as a board, why we exist as staff. So you're the main people, right, that we're here to serve. So I just want to say thank you very much for being here. I'm so proud of you.
Mr. Hollins?
A long time ago, there was a gentleman named Art Linkletter, and he used to say, kids say the darndest things. And I think what he really meant was we should listen to kids because they say really amazing things. And we've had some of your classmates and so on come and speak to us before and say things that we all kind of laugh at because they're so true. But tonight, as Mr. Valencia told you, you gave us some ideas that we needed to hear about, and they were great ideas. But what I really liked was just the sincerity and confidence with which you told us those things, and the thought you gave them. So keep doing those things for the rest of the year, and then anytime you want to come and do an aside here and tell us what's going on and what we could do, keep bringing those things to us. This isn't a one-time thing. So thank you guys.
Yes, Ms. Cordero?
And I would like to reiterate everything that has already been said, and with a great deal of appreciation. As I had mentioned previously, when I spoke with the leadership group, I think I made the promise, in my head, I made the promise that I would try to visit each of your schools and make some kind of contact with you. And actually mostly last week, I did make that effort, and I appreciate the time that you took to talk with me, to really explain what it was that you had wanted me to see at your school, and tell me even a few more things about your school and your experience. And like these gentlemen have said, it is important to hear the voices of our youth. And I'm going to refrain from calling you children because you are on the verge of becoming young adults. And if you are thinking now and processing ideas of how to make improvements and how to make it better for those who come after you, for the younger ones, then you are already acting with responsibility. And I think I can say we really do appreciate that because that's the cornerstone of our democracy. So thank you very much for being here tonight and for your parents for bringing you.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much for your speeches. And yeah, thank you.
Can we please take a picture with the group before they leave?
Yeah. All right. Next up is public comment period. Buenas noches. Public comments are intended for members of the public to address the board on items involving the school district. Comments are limited to 3 minutes per person and 50 minutes total per topic. If an answer to a specific question is requested, the board president may, if appropriate, direct administration to respond in writing. Just a friendly reminder to our speakers this evening, please deliver your remarks at a moderate pace to enable our interpreters to provide accurate interpretation. Speaking too quickly may compromise the accuracy of the comments for our listening audience. Do we have any public comments on non-agenda items?
We do not. We do not have any public comments on non-agenda items.
Okay, do we have on agenda items?
Yes, we do. We have Kristen Lohr. Kristen, would you like to speak now or when we get to the action item? Come on and speak now, Kristen. That would be good.
Okay.
Good evening, board members, Dr. McDuffie, cabinet educators in the audience. My name is Kristen Lohr, and I serve as president of the Santa Maria Elementary Educators Association. And tonight, you're being asked to adopt Resolution 25-18. It's action item E, reducing or eliminating particular kinds of services, including 22 instructional coach positions, 20 ELD coach positions, 22 RTI teacher positions, and 1 newcomer teacher position. Our concern is not simply about numbers on this page, it's about what the resolution represents in practice. The services listed for elimination are instructional coaching support for English learners, intervention through RTI, and newcomer services. At the same time, the district has recently approved new positions, site coach and academic support teacher, that consolidate and absorb much of the same work, along with additional duties tied to curriculum and alignment. When services continue under new titles with expanded responsibilities, that's not merely just a reduction of programs, it's a restructuring of bargaining unit work. Negotiations with CSEA are ongoing, we're at the table, and restructuring duties, consolidating roles, and moving forward under the framework of a reduction in services while bargaining is still in progress brings hope. I would like to bring into focus the how you implement these changes matters greatly for the educators doing the work. Even when a district has authority under the Ed Code to reduce particular kinds of services, changes to workloads, assignments, and working conditions, these working conditions remain subject to bargaining under the EERA. Moving the work and bundling it with new positions raises questions about sustainability and workload for all affected educators, especially the general education teachers. In the situation, it has been proposed that they may have more duties on their plate, so that's a very big concern. We're asking the board to proceed carefully. If the work is continuing under new classifications, then this action should not outpace the collaboration and any bargaining processes. Our educators want to support students well and sustainably. That requires transparency, lawful process, and genuine collaboration. Assistant Superintendent Maiju Longjumbu, excuse me if I said it wrong, has extended an invitation to CSEA to be part of the implementation process. While we appreciate and will be taking part in this outreach, we are concerned that many of the significant decisions have already been communicated to school sites. And for collaboration to be effective, it must be proactive rather than reactive. So we're positively thinking forward. We want to ensure that CSEA's involvement represents a meaningful partnership in shaping these roles, not merely a formality after the framework has been set. Some things have already rolled out to sites and to members prior to us being part of the process. So we're hoping it's more genuine and authentic than it may appear to be at onset. We look forward to a transition process that honors our ongoing and collaborative work at the bargaining table. We respectfully ask that the rollout of these new positions moves forward in a way that strengthens our partnership and maintains the high standards of services that our students deserve. And thank you.
That's all we have?
Thank you, Ms. Lord. Next is approval of the agenda as presented. Did you?
So moved.
Oh, wait, I think there's changes.
Yeah, I'd just like to request, Madam President, that we change the order of the discussion item B. We have a guest and like to get them out before we do our action items. So discussion before action. Just that one discussion item.
So it would be item B, Measure Case Citizens Oversight Committee Annual Report to the Community 2024-25. So so can I get a motion for the amended agenda?
Move to approve the agenda as amended.
Okay, so I approved by Mr. Hollinshead and seconded by Mrs. Cordero. Roll call?
Mrs. Cordero?
Aye.
Mr. Valencia?
Aye.
Mr. Hollinshead?
Aye.
Mr. Lara?
Aye.
Ms. Cabral?
Aye, motion passes. Oh, yeah. Next, consent items. Action proposed for the consent agenda are consistent with adopted policies and approved district practices and are deemed routine. They will be acted on in one motion without discussion unless a board member requests for the item to be removed. Are there any questions regarding the consent items? No? Can I have a motion?
I'll move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Thank you. It's been moved by Mrs. Cordero and seconded by Mr. Hollinshead to approve the consent items as presented. Roll call?
Mrs. Cordero?
Aye.
Mr. Valencia,
Aye.
Mr. Hollinshead,
Aye.
Mr. Lara,
Aye.
Ms. Cabral.
Aye. Motion passes. And so then we'll move on to discussion item B, Measure K, Citizens Oversight Committee Annual Report to the Community 2024-25. Mr. Beecher?
Thank you very much. I appreciate the board and the superintendent moving this item to the very beginning so that our committee chair, Roxana Vasquez Calderon, can return home. She is doing a wonderful job leading the work of our committee during our meetings. As the board may be aware, during the current fiscal year that this report covers, we hadn't sold bonds, we hadn't spent any money, and we don't have an audit. So the official work of the committee started, but those kinds of reports aren't available regarding Measure K. And so what we'll share with you tonight, what the chair will share with you tonight is the work that we did do and just be available for any questions. We feel that even though those things didn't happen, it's still really important for us to check in with the community and with the school board to ensure that, again, this work starts right from the very beginning. So with that, I'd like to turn that over to our chair, Roxana Vasquez Calderon.
Good evening, esteemed Superintendent McDuffie, board members, and the community. On behalf of the Measure K Citizens Bond Oversight Committee, I am pleased to present this annual report to the Santa Maria Bonita School District for the 2024-2025 fiscal year. The Citizens Bond Oversight Committee was established in accordance with California law to ensure transparency, accountability, and proper use of voter-approved bonds. Our role is to represent the interests of the taxpayers and the broader community by monitoring bond expenditures and reporting on the status of the bond program. The 2024-2025 year marked the beginning of the committee's work for Measure K. While no bond proceeds were received and no bond expenditures occurred during this period, the committee took important foundational steps to prepare for the oversight responsibilities that will begin once the proceeds are available. Excuse me. The Measure K Citizens Bond Oversight Committee held its inaugural meeting on April 16, 2025 at the Sousa Center. At this meeting, committee members were introduced to one another, oriented to the legal purpose and responsibilities of a Citizens Bond Oversight Committee, and established the structure necessary to carry out our work effectively. I myself, Roxana Vasquez Calderon, was elected as chairperson, and my responsibility is to preside over the meetings, ensure the orderly conduct of the community business, and is responsible for presenting the committee's annual report to the Board of Education as I'm here today. Mr. Dave Cross is the vice chairperson. He will be assisting, or he's assisting myself and assumes the duties of the chair in the event of my absence. Mr. Gregory Follett is the secretary. He will review the meeting minutes for accuracy and completeness, and helps ensure the key discussions and actions are properly documented. Mrs. Zoraida Norado White, she's a committee member, and participates fully in committee discussions and oversight activities, bringing taxpayer and community-focused perspective to the review of Measure K. During this meeting, the actions that were taken, we received an overview of Measure K and the statutory role of the Citizens Bond Oversight Committee. Discussed the mission of the committee, which included monitoring and the allocation and expenditure of the bond funds, ensuring compliance with voter-approved purposes, and informing the public about the progress of bond-funded projects. We established committee leadership, as I mentioned, by electing the chair, the vice chair, the secretary, and to guide the work of the committee. We approved a regular meeting schedule to ensure consistent oversight and public transparency, which at the last slide, you will see all the upcoming meeting dates. These actions were critical in laying groundwork for thoughtful, organized, and effective oversight once the proceeds are available. As I present here, no bond proceeds have been received and no bond expenditures have been made. As a result, that there were no expenditure reports, audits, or project activities for the committee to review during this reporting period. This annual report therefore only focuses on committee formation, orientation, and readiness rather than financial oversight. So our commitment is to transparency and accountability. Although no Measure K funds were spent during this initial year, the committee takes its responsibility to the community seriously. Transparency and accountability begin before the first dollar is spent. By establishing clear procedures, regular meeting schedules, and a shared understanding of our role, the committee has positioned itself to provide diligent oversight when bond proceeds become available. So the committee will be consistent with its legal duties, which include the review of bond expenditure reports, review independent financial and performance audits, monitor bond-funded projects and timeliness, conduct site visits when appropriate, to observe those bond-funded work, and report regularly to the school board and the community. As Measure K moves into its implementation phase, the committee anticipates a more active role in the years ahead. Once bond proceeds are issued and projects begin, the committee will focus on understanding the district's facilities master plan and how Measure K project aligns with the identified needs. Reviewing the results of bond sales and projected cash flow, monitoring project priorities, schedules, and expenditures, ensuring ongoing communication with district staff to receive timely and accurate information, and providing clear, accessible annual reports to keep the community informed about how Measure K funds are being used to benefit students and schools. The committee recognizes, excuse me, that Measure K represents a significant investment by the community in the future of the Santa Maria Bonita School District. We're committed to honoring that trust through careful oversight and open communication. I would like to thank my fellow committee members for their willingness to serve and for bringing diverse perspectives, professional experience, and a shared commitment to the community. I also extend appreciation to district staff for their support during this initial year and for their commitment to transparency. Although 2024-2025 was a startup year with no financial activity to report, it was an important first step in building a strong oversight process. The committee looks forward to continuing its work and providing meaningful oversight and reporting as Measure K progresses. Thank you.
I know there are some unfilled positions on the committee. Is that something that there's an ongoing desire to fill, or are you guys, is that an active thing that you guys are looking at, or is it pretty well set at this point?
So we have established our committee, and there actually is an additional member, Artis Nielsen, that the school board added after the conclusion of the fiscal year. There are still some vacancies for some specific positions. We continue to have the application available on the district website for folks to complete if they're interested. For certain, if a committee member was aware of someone that would be interested, or if the school board was aware of someone who might be interested, who could serve on the independent oversight committee, we would love to hear from additional folks who might want to join the work. Mm-hmm.
And then are these dates open to public, or are they just the days that they'll be meeting?
Absolutely. The meetings of the Citizens Fund Oversight Committee are subject to the Brown Act. We have to provide the same noticing with the same timelines with an agenda that's public in advance of the meeting. 72 hours, I think, is the timeline that has to be in advance. Anyone is welcome to attend.
Thank you.
And I'd like to also add that the information is available as well on the website. Staff has been doing a really good job at keeping the community involved and informed. So if there's any other questions or some curiosity, then they're welcome to check in the website, the page.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
We're good.
Have a good evening.
So, well, hold on. If no further questions, the Board of Education acknowledges a Measure K Citizens Oversight Committee Annual Report to the community for the 2024-2025 school year update. Thank you very much. Action item A, tentative agreement between the Santa Maria Bonita School District and the California School Employees Association and its Santa Maria Elementary Chapter number 129. Mr. Bland?
Good evening, Board, Dr. McDuffie, Cabinet, our audience. Before I present our item tonight, I just want to sincerely thank our CSEA leadership and their bargaining team for their continued partnership throughout our process. The work was challenging at times, but it was always grounded in mutual respect, dialogue, and a shared commitment for supporting our employees and the students that we serve. I truly do appreciate CSEA's collaboration and willingness to work together through the difficult conversations that we had together, and we value the relationship that we made that made this agreement possible. So I just wanted to make sure I said that before I brought this item. So with that, administration presents the revised articles 7, 13, 15, and 15 of the 2023 to 2026 agreement between the Santa Maria Bonita School District and the California School Employees Association, Chapter 129, for adoption by the Board of Education. Also included with the revised articles tentatively agreed upon are Appendix B, salaries, which includes the tentative agreement regarding financial settlement for the 2024, 2025, and 2025, 2026 contract terms for adoption by the Board of Education. Administration also presents the public disclosure for proposed collective bargaining agreement in accordance with AB 1200, Chapter 1213, Statutes 1992, AB 2756, Chapter 52, Statutes 2004, GC 3547.5. In accordance with the requirements of Government Code Section 3547.5, the Superintendent and Chief Business Officer of the Santa Maria Bonita School District hereby certify that the district can meet the costs incurred under the collective bargaining agreement with the California School Employees Association, Chapter 129, during the term of the agreement from July 1, 2024 through June 30th, 2026.
Do we have any questions? No.
This is just to the end of the year, this contract?
Yes, this goes to the end of this year, yes.
And then we'll,
And then we reopen for, this is for the end of this contract serves for this year, and then we have a reopener for all the contract for the next opening up. If that makes sense, sorry. Did I answer your question?
yeah.
Okay.
If no further questions, can I get a motion?
I'll move that the Board of Education approve the tentative agreement between the Santa Maria Bonita School District and the California School Employees Association and its Santa Maria Elementary Chapter number 129 as presented.
I'll second.
Thank you. It has been moved by Mrs. Cordero and second by Mr. Lara that the Board of Education approve the tentative agreement between the Santa Maria Bonita School District and the California School Employees Association and its Santa Maria Elementary Chapter number 129 as presented. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? No. Motion passes. Thank you. Next, item B, request to change date of the next scheduled regular board meeting for the month of April 2026. Dr. McDuffie?
Thank you, President Cabral. I will say that we had a calendar at December 10th meeting where the board took action and your superintendent failed to realize that April 8th was during spring break. And I am requesting, due to spring break occurring during this time, that we reschedule our April 8th meeting from April 8th to April 15th, 2026.
We're good?
I'll recommend that the Board of Education discuss and approve the request to change the next scheduled regular board meeting date from April 8 to April 15, 2026, as presented.
Second.
Thank you. Item has been moved by Mr. Valencia and seconded by Mr. Hollinshead that the Board of Education discuss and approve the request to change the next scheduled regular board meeting date from April 8th, 2026 to April 15th, 2026 as presented. All in favor? Aye. Motion passes. Oh, any opposed? Motion passes. Item C, adopt resolution 2516, release of temporary certificated employees. Mr. Bland?
Hello again. Before I present the next resolution or the next three resolutions, I do want to say I bring these. I do not bring these lightly. All of these resolutions obviously have to do with personnel. And there are people, there are humans, there are teachers that are attached to these, so these are not brought lightly. And so there have been meetings held in separate occasions with each of these groups, and so there's been care and thought put behind each of these with each of these resolutions to meet with each of these groups and individuals, whether they're with our probationary, whether they're with our temporary teachers, or even with our teachers with our resolution around the particular kinds of service. And so I just wanted to go on record of saying that these are not brought lightly. And so I know that we go through this process each year, but it is a process that is a tough process to go through. So with that, I bring to you our first resolution that it is requested that the board adopt the resolution number 2516, authorizing that the governing board to release temporary certificated employees at the end of the 25-26 school year. Education Code 44954B. The Education Code requires that the Board of Education the Board of Trustees notify temporary certificated employees before the end of the school year that they'll be released from employment at the end of the 25-26 school year and will not be reelected for the succeeding school year. The Board of Education is asked to adopt the attached resolution to release the temporary certificated employees as itemized in Exhibit A at the end of the 25-26 school year, and that the superintendent or his designee be directed to send appropriate notices to all employees whose services shall be terminated at the end of the current school year by virtue of this action no later than March 15th, 2026.
No questions? Can I get a motion? Can I get a motion?
I'll move that the Board of Education approve the attached resolution number 25-16, authorizing the release of temporary certificated employees as presented.
I'll second.
Thank you. It's been moved by Mrs. Cordero and second by Mr. Valencia that the Board of Education adopt the attached resolution number 2516, authorizing the release of temporary certificated employees as presented. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Cordero?
Aye.
Mr. Valencia?
Aye.
Mr. Hollinshead?
Aye.
Mr. Lara? Ms. Cabral?
Aye. Motion passes. Item D, adoption of Resolution 2517, release of non-reelection probationary certificate employees. Mr. Bland?
With this resolution, the board is requested to adopt Resolution 2517, authorizing the governing board to release and non-reelect probationary certificated employees. Education Code Section 44929.21B. Non-reelection is a process that puts a certificated probationary employee on notice that the employee's employment contract will not be renewed for the following school year. Education Code Section 44929.21B authorizes the governing board to give notice to probationary certificated employees that the board's decision to non-reelect employees for the next succeeding school year at any time prior to March 15th of the employee's second complete consecutive school year of employment by the district as a probationary certificated employee. The Board of Education is asked to adopt the attached resolution to non-reelect the probationary certificated employees as itemized in Exhibit A, and that the superintendent or his designee be directed to send appropriate notices by no later than March 15th, 2026 to all employees whose services shall be terminated at the end of the school year by virtue of this action.
Thank you. Do we have any questions or comments? No? Okay. With no questions, can I get a motion?
I'll move that the board adopt the attached resolution 25-17 authorizing the non-reelection of probationary certificated employees as presented.
Thank you. It's been moved by Mr. Hollinshead and seconded by Mr. Lara that the Board of Education adopt the attached resolution number 2517, authorizing the non-reelection of probationary certificated employees as presented. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Cordero?
Aye.
Mr. Valencia?
Aye.
Mr. Hollinshead?
Aye.
Mr. Lara? Ms. Cabral?
Aye. Motion passes. Item E, Resolution 2518. Resolution for reduction or elimination of particular kinds of services performed by certificated employees. Mr. Blunt.
And this resolution I bring to you is to adopt Resolution 2518, reduction or elimination of particular kinds of services performed by certificated employees. Education Code 44955 authorizes school districts to eliminate and/or reduce particular kinds of certificated services. Certain services now being performed by certificated positions must be reduced for the 26-27 school year based on the elimination of certain funds, the district needs, and/or the district's fiscal health. While a total of 65 positions amounting to 65 full-time equivalents are being eliminated, it is projected that due to the recent approval of the site coach and academic support teacher positions, as well as resignation, natural attrition, and retirements, no employees will be laid off as a result of this resolution. Rather, this resolution reflects reduction or elimination of positions, not employees.
Yes, Mr. Hanson.
Yeah, I just wanted to thank Kristen for her thoughtful comments in regard to this item. And just, I think one of the things around the emotion of the changes that we've made or are intending to make is just this, changing not just positions, but moving around, as you described, Dr. Bland, people. It affects people and our employees, and we want to continue to have really inclusive and collaborative processes around that. And also, when it says 65 positions, we also want to remind people that of those additional positions that we're going to hopefully have site money as well as district money where we can have additional folks in the right places doing the right work. So we want to make sure that this is really thoughtful, and this is just that one step, but it's like you said, it's about people.
Yes. We're good. Thank you, Mr. Hollinshead. If no further questions, can I get a motion?
I'll move that the Board of Education adopt the attached resolution number 25-18, authorizing the reduction or elimination of particular kinds of services performed by certificated employees as presented.
I'm like- Thank you, Mr. It's been moved by Mrs. Cordero and seconded by Mr. Hollinshead that the Board of Education adopt the attached Resolution 2518, authorizing the reduction of elimination of particular kinds of services performed by certificate employees as presented. Roll call.
Mrs. Cordero?
Aye.
Mr. Valencia?
Aye.
Mr. Hollinshead?
Aye.
Mr. Lara? Ms. Cabral?
Aye. Motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Blunt. Item 12, discussion items. Local control and accountability plan mid-year update. Mr. Humphrey, Dr. Humphrey?
Thank you.
Yes.
Good evening, all. I'm here tonight presenting our annually required mid-year update on the Local Control Accountability Plan, the LCAP. As a refresher, the LCAP represents our investment plan for the supplemental funds we receive that's generated by our unduplicated student accounts. Those are our demographics of homeless, foster, low income, and English language learners. In return for that funding, we develop an investment plan that is eventually approved by the CDE, ensuring that the funding goes directly towards increasing and improving the outcomes for those students in particular. As a reminder, we are in the second year of the 3-year LCAP cycle, so this is an update year for us. In developing this plan, it's important we have a year-long process of ed partner engagement. So we far exceed the CDE requirements in this area. We cast a wide net in a variety of venues and opportunities and platforms, engaging our ed partners, that's certificated and classified staff, families, the students themselves. We hold community workshops. We take advantage of the very many district committees that we have here. We have online surveys. We go directly to the students themselves at their sites, and we leverage school site councils, the most localized funding that we have. We have the benefit of using the online platform Thought Exchange. With the district our size, it's important that we can receive large amounts of input, distill, analyze, help prioritize. Thought Exchange allows us to do that. It also allows for elements of anonymity for our participants. It offers transparency. We're able to turn around the analysis for these and post publicly after every single engagement. So far, just this year, we have memorialized in this input from over 1,100 participants, over 1,200 contributions, over 22,000 ratings. Those are our highest numbers we've had at this point of the year and the past 4. Some of the top themes that have surfaced so far this year include infrastructure needs, such as small class sizes, the importance of family resource centers, academic needs, particularly an increase in English proficiency for our students, the importance of field trips and college career experiences, and funding directly allocated for family event nights. We increasingly take opportunities and take advantage of reaching out to our students. In particular, we not only do site visits for this, but you got to see some of our student leaders up here presenting. We go directly to them, and our team collaborates with them to do an annual workshop where they're able to provide input through Thought Exchange. They put about like a half dozen priorities up there, and then we go through the entire process of what do you do when everything's important, and how does funding help reflect your values? The same things we get to discuss here. And so they get their top 6. They get SMBSD dollars in different denominations to a total of 100. And then they get to go prioritize amongst those six. Do they want to, they think all of them are equally important, so they want to evenly spread those out. They think just one thing's important, I'm going to put $100 all on one item, or just whatever the discrepancy they want to do. It's helpful because it teaches them the process. I feel like it's been surfaced here before, like one day those are going to be the same students that take over our spots. And some of the top rated thoughts for them are importance and allocation for field trips, better food options, school athletics, priorities for them. This is a statewide effort. And so we want to ensure not just the localized efforts that we have, but there's evolving CDE requirements, compliance, and SBCEO, the county, is our final authorizer on this plan. So we work very closely with them. We also take best practices and approaches from LACO, Los Angeles County Office of Education, coordinate with CDE. It means we're on a lot of workshops, webinars, and different outlets that we make sure that we're in compliance along with maintaining the importance of localizing this funding. The data points that have been presented with you throughout the year are the same ones that help inform progress monitoring for us. Everything that ranges from the CASP to LPAC, internal assessments through NWA MAP, and of course our dashboard. As we dive into each one of the 4 goals, as a reminder, these goals are a direct reflection of the strategic plan. This is our value statement. So we have 4 goals. We want to make sure our investments match those values. Each one of the goals has one or more state priorities that it must connect with. You can also see the outcome measures. Items that are highlighted there with new or expanded, those are actions and services that are either new for this cycle or expanded, increased funding. And you can see those are a direct reflection of ed partner influence and engagement. Some of those include in family engagement, parent ed programs, family engagement programs, increased funding for trilingual and bilingual translators, especially in response to our increased Mixteco population. Commonalities that you're going to see across all 4 goals is staffing. By far, our LCAP, our investment plan, is dominated by staffing, particularly classified staff as supplemental staff. The vast majority of it is allocations towards salary and statutory benefits. That's our value statement as a district, that we believe in people to provide these services for our kids, and so we employ a lot of individuals in staffing through the LCAP. On the fiscal end for each goal, you're going to see allocations, actuals, and balance at this point of the year. That's the end of the January reporting. So you see allocations for goal 1, about $4.5 million. Of that, we have a balance of about $1 million. Commonalities across: when you have staffing, you need to ensure that there's enough funding left in for the duration of the year to fulfill that staffing. Of note, you'll also see some items that are just inherently done in the spring or throughout the year. Parent engagement programs is one of them. Continued translation services, we'll need those throughout the year, so we maintain that balance accordingly. In goal 2, around recruitment, support, and retention of high-quality staff, you'll see some staffing elements in there, and you'll also see spotlighted there an increase in funding, particularly in professional learning. What's fueling all the great work that we're doing with the Bright Futures Project is coming from this source, and that's been reflected in our LCAP plan. Similarly, in the allocation, including staffing salaries, we're going to need professional learning throughout the duration of the year. Staffing vacancies, when you staff so many individuals through the LCAP, there's inherently some vacancies, and those get turned into carryover by the end of the year. The highest allocation of all of our goals is in goal 3. That's structures and facilities to support inclusive learning experiences. Covers a lot of our state priorities. A lot of our staffing is in there as well. You also see supplemental programs and materials, technology infrastructure funded through this. I think particularly of note that we made a decision as a district that we were going to ensure that we're supporting our emerging bilingual students. We want to have a funding plan that matched that value statement, and that was the development of our multilingual programs. And you can see all the staffing that's funded directly through this in support of that effort, and a direct response of not just the discussions here, but from our ed partners at large. You'll see the huge allocation there. Our highest of the 4 goals, $41.5 million. You have a balance there to ensure we have, for all that staffing, the salaries and the statutory benefits through the duration of the year. Spring purchases and technology. One item of note, since we've been able to expand our ELOP funding source to include junior high levels, we had 6 evening, we called them LCAP custodians that were supplemental to this work, and they were able to be shifted over to that funding source consistent with the others. In goal 4, it's another large one. It's we will nurture the whole child. Tremendous amount of staffing in this one in particular. We have important positions ranging from our student supervisors and our assistant principals, our area administrators, library media clerks, even our band teachers. You'll see in response to continued emphasis on college and career readiness, new and expanded funding in this cycle towards field trips and student leadership opportunities, as well as junior high elective courses and offerings. It's the second highest allocation, coming over just $33 million. So our actuals, our balance, we'll need that funding because we continue to do those college and career experiences throughout the duration of the school year, and we need to ensure that we're paying that staff. Our next steps, that gets us from here to June, continued outreach with ed partners, including but not limited to that list up there. Important component of this is that sites have their own school plan for student achievement, the SIPSA. And so that's developed with the 10 members of their school site council that is representative of the same ed partners that make up our LCAP workshops, but it's at the site level. It's the most localized use of the funding that you're going to see. It's unique to California. It offers a lot of responsiveness to our school communities. Not all of our school communities are the same. They have different needs, and their investment plan should match their big, ambitious goals that they have at the school site. So they develop a SIPSA. There's a whole process towards it, and we help all 21 sites with that. They have to complete an annual review, looking back at the prior year. 100% of our sites have completed that at this point in the school year. They're now working on the second part, which is their comprehensive needs assessment. So they take a needs assessment of this year to help inform the eventual development of the SIPSA so that the funding plan can match those needs going into the upcoming year. I bring those with me every time I come to present to you in June. You have all 21 SIPSAs in that big packet of yours. We work closely with our business department, trying to keep it as apprised as possible with the state of California and the budget projections so we can do this work. It's a tight turnaround once you get into the spring because we're trying to figure out allocations, and the governor doesn't provide his May revise until May, which doesn't give us a lot of time to turn it around. So we work closely with business on trying to figure out those projections so we can be responsible in our allocations as well. Continued and increased collaboration with the county so that when we provide the LCAP, it's in approvable form for them. And it is required by the state that we get that to them by the end of June, which we have a timeline in place. We'll have our public hearing on June 10th, be seeking approval for it in June 24th. And it's just in time to get it to the county prior to the deadline of the end of June. That concludes our mid-year update. Thank you for your support, and I'm here for questions.
Those balances that you presented for each goal, is that through the end of the school year, or is that something to cover all 3 years? Like
No, just for the end of the school year.
for into the school year?
Yes.
So like, okay, thank you. Mr. Valencia?
And then I might have missed it, but in the beginning, you were talking about some of the input, like the amount of input we received. But did you specify by any chance, like our turnout in terms of our parents, like how many parents are turning out to these meetings? Is it still going through like, is it going through the DLAC sites, or are we having convenings here at the district? Could you give a little bit more information on that, please?
Yes, we do both. We cast a wide net on this. I think some years back, it used to be really centralized on just doing the community workshops, but we've evolved as a district and we have different committees now. So we treat it like we want to do the best of both worlds. We have our community workshops. We had over 40 people there last time representing a diverse group, but we have so many different committees, as you can see listed here. So we treat it like a bit of a road show as well. And then we do outreach to the sites as well. So we're doing site visits, student leadership council, and we run 2 online surveys now, which is more than we previously had. And then the other part is we really leverage, we have 21 school site councils. So we're in communication with them as well, and they do their own LCAP presentations, then we get our own input for them. I think you might have missed we have the highest participant and contribution or ratings numbers at this point of the year than we've had in the past 4 years.
Excellent. And then do we know, like, I know typically like the school site councils, they're required, right, to have a certain amount of students, certain
Yep.
amount of parents, right? And do we know if those committees are meeting that attendance requirement? Or
Yes.
are we having issues with parent attendance or student involvement in these groups?
No, each of them are meeting the requirements for it. 10 individuals got to be made up equal parts family and then staff and certificate and classified staff. It's a tough recruitment job. I think
Yeah.
it's improving over time, in part because I think we used to centralize so much of it now that we would maybe get more people on LCAP workshop, but the same people that would attend the LCAP workshop were the same that would attend their school site council, and we were kind of like pulling from one end of the pool to the other. So we've empowered them more, and I think the increase in engagement they're having is they're seeing we're not just going through the motions and compliance anymore. They're seeing these budgets reflected of their specific school communities, and it's everything from increased field trips to things like a book vending machine. They want to see things responsive to their unique community, and that's helping fuel more participation there. So they get the numbers. Continued participation is difficult. You know, the incentive to want to join that afternoon meeting is you need to be able to see value in it. So we're continuing to help with that. We've had, late last year, we had our families from DLAC do a video promotion for it. And every workshop and everything we go through, we always do a promotion of the school site council. We were talking about at the end of the last workshop is sometimes if you don't see something reflected specifically for a site in the big LCAP, the easiest, most through line, localized way to do it is to have it included in your SIPSA. We brought in allowability and worked with CDE on that, and we're spending more money at the sites than we have in the past 4 years, and I think that's responsive of that kind of participation as well.
Okay. Yeah, I appreciate you mentioning how sometimes it can be a challenge.
Yeah.
That's why I bring it up, because I want to make sure, right,
Yeah.
that we have the parent voices, the staff, the teacher voices, the student voices to guide, right, these important conversations to help us make informed and better decisions when we vote to approve.
Yeah, absolutely.
A couple of things. It seems like every time we get to the part where it's the student responses, the responses are pretty typical. And I mean, I know we're doing more field trips now.
We are.
And I also know that there are, especially at the elementary level, more athletic opportunities with the soccer and volleyball and
Yes.
so forth. But the food, when they say they want better food choices, do they give any examples?
Not particularly. I mean, it's a common one to put up there. Also, it gives us the opportunity to be able to help educate on different funding sources have different strings attached to it. So we want to take their input and keep it as holistic as possible. We also know that things with student leadership that brings us up most often, they also get a visit from food service, which is a completely different funding source. It has its own rules, its own levels of sugar and sodium, which impact that.
I would just really be curious to know what it is that they want.
Yeah.
And I mean, if they understood that, okay, you like that, but that's not something we can serve.
Yeah, and we try to, even if these don't align with the increased improved services, with the LCFF funding and the rules and regulations, we share it with other departments and they're able to provide feedback for the students. And so food service does a good job of being able to talk to them.
Okay,
Yeah.
and my other comment has to do, you reference RTI teachers, and now that position has technically been eliminated, I think we need a new term for that, or
Yeah, this is a major update on what's current. I think as you see towards June, we'll be able to talk about that and the
I know
aligned funding
that
source.
just happened. I just don't want that to slip through the cracks.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I think when we start talking about next year, since that's a position for next year, we'll be able to include it. They are currently being funded through the LCAP.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mhm.
So one of the things that you can see when you look at the LCAP are not only the things that you've described that we get in thought exchange or in the four goals, but our means of assessing how we're doing and where we are with different things. And usually, and most of those goals are, or some of those goals are relatively vague. Some of them are tied into testing, or a lot of them are with certain percentages or numbers of changes in say a certain level of achievement on some of the testing. And a lot of that is based on, at least when you look at the 24, 25 stuff because that was all that's available on the website, is very summative, right? So I guess my question is, and you talked a little bit about NWEA MAP scores, is how are we self-assessing as we go, or mid-year, and making adjustments? Because I know also that you will read certain, and you spoke to it, there are positions that are unfunded or that went unfulfilled. I know we have a really difficult time getting trilingual interpreters. We were only able to get one, right? With three, and I think there were 3 positions that went unfilled, or 2. So how are we, you present to us what we get what we probably should know at the beginning of the year, or what we do know at the beginning of the year, and then where we're going to look at the end. Aside from the thought exchange input, how are we looking at the goals and achieving the goals now, and working towards those?
Yeah, I think there's 2 best ways to be able to approach this. I think one is the compliance piece to what the CDE requirements are. We have metrics, and it aligns with some of those summative pieces you spoke about, like the dashboard and our end of year testing. Internally, we couple that with some of our internal measures for as well. The goal analysis section of the LCAP requires some questions on it. What is the overall implementation of it? And how do you know it's working or effective? Those are things that we have to include in there, especially going into next year. Of continued funding has to be able to reflect effectiveness for it. It also has items on material differences. So when you speak about the translators, and there's some vacancies on there, when we give our actuals, we have to be able to note these actuals are less than anticipated because of X, Y, and Z, usually staffing vacancies. But for each, I think one thing that we do is we make this a year-long conversation. So when we have things like, when we talk about positions like AST, we talk about progress monitoring for it. When people come up and they talk about professional learning contracts, and there's good questions about how do we know it's going to be effective, I think continued conversation with that and bits and pieces will help the year-long assessment of it. And the LCAP will help speak to how is it tied to some of the more summative pieces to it as well.
Thank you for that clarification, because that's exactly really kind of where I was hoping you would go, is how are we doing the things locally? Because the state requirements are the state requirements, and that's going to feel like NCLB for the rest of time.
Yeah.
Right. But we need to be looking at what we can do to better ourselves and self-check as we go along. I mean, that was kind of one of the reasons we've engaged in some of the things we have. But one of the things that you didn't include in at least that I saw in a lot of the thought exchange, was exactly what you're talking about, was input around professional learning and some of the things we're doing. So, I mean, I think you should include telling us some of the things that are negative that we're receiving in thought exchange, that can be fairly proliferated or proliferant. But also what some of those measures are, and tell us a little bit about what some of those internal things we're doing are to look at, rather than waiting till we get to June.
Yeah.
So we know what questions to ask, and when somebody is coming up and has a presentation that ties to LCAP, we can think in broader terms how what they're telling us applies to what you've presented to us. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. I think when we come and we speak to actions and services that we're providing, so much of it is funded through supplemental funding.
Right.
And to be intentional about, this is LCAP funded, and this is the goals that we have for it, and this is how we're monitoring progress.
Yeah.
And then in between, if you have any questions on the actions and services, I'm happy to share what we have for the goal analysis.
Yeah, because it ends up being a ton for you, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
there's-
it's
it's a 200
because everything,
document.
like you said, everything
Yeah.
comes to you. So then that's a lot for you to answer to. And then one last thing, just in kind of tagging along with Mr. Valencia, what I didn't hear was if you got a feel for the site participation with DLAC and site council and some of the on-site meetings, if that had included or increased participation outside of what you were talking about with the same people being at all the meetings. Do you feel like so is there a way that they tell you, hey, this is what we got from the input we got from site council and DLAC meetings? Is that reflected back to you, just like you would get thought exchange?
Yes, I think anecdotally it comes through. We have a leadership academy with the principals and we do specific workshops on this to get their feedback. And then coming up in March, we'll be providing a survey that goes to all the school site councils to get this feedback. And then that's another two-way communication piece from the principals.
Thank you.
Dr. McDuffie.
Thank you, Dr. Humphrey.
Yeah.
Just wanted to weigh in on this and thank Dr. Humphrey. When we started our strategic plan, one of the things was to really make sure that we were being congruent with how we were spending money and funding through our LCAP. And so next month, we'll be doing a mid-year report on our strategic plan, and a lot of the evidence within those goals that we talk about, a lot of the things that we talk about as far as staffing and those things will be evident within a mid-year report as well. So just wanted to kind of give you a preview of that and how easier it is to connect the dots because our goals are in alignment with our LCAP goals.
Thank you.
All
Thank
right,
you,
thank
Dr.
you.
Humphrey. Where am I? The Board of Education adopts the attached, no, not that one. The Board of Education acknowledges receipt of the Local Control and Accountability Plan mid-year update as presented. Item 20, new business. Do we have any new business this evening to present? No. Great. Oh. Moving on to item 11, board and superintendent reports. Ms. Cordero?
Yes, as I mentioned earlier, I have been out visiting schools and talking with some of the student leaders. Adam, Arianis Elementary, and sort of the junior high, but it mostly concerned being in the cafeteria at Bonita, at Bruce, and at Fairlawn. And I had to come to grips with the fact that a couple of those sites I don't think I'd been on since COVID. So I guess I better get my running shoes on. We did have the Santa Barbara County School Board Association meeting the day after our last board meeting. And of course, everyone shares from the districts, but our general kind of topic that we landed on was what appears to be the upcoming change in the role of the superintendent of public instruction. And something that I had never really acknowledged, I guess, was the State Board of Education is appointed by the governor, who is elected. The superintendent is elected. The superintendent of public instruction is an ad hoc member of the State Board of Education. So there's oftentimes a disconnect there when things happen. So I've kind of been paying attention to that. And I don't think the invitation has gone out yet, but the annual meeting of the Santa Barbara County School Board Association will be on April 16th at the Red Barn. And this year, we've made arrangements with the Chumash to visit their museum, which is about a block away, prior to having dinner. So quite a bit of enthusiasm from those in attendance for that. Last week, I actually made it to a 7:25 meeting at Fessler where there was a mixed deck presentation that was exceptionally interested. And I know that Dr. Castillo Schiffer is aware of some of that. And apparently there's been maybe one presentation here with some of the district folks, but it was just really interesting, very well done and appreciated by the staff. Just kind of demystifying some of the things that we think we know that aren't really there. So the school visitations have been very enjoyable, and I am amazed at a couple of our school sites, how much they've changed and grown in sight. And of course, if your enrollment is over 1,000, I guess you'd have to have the rooms to accommodate that. So, and still, when I, have the opportunity to talk with teachers, space continues to be an ongoing issue. Space, classroom space, and in our older schools, the whole lunch cafeteria, lunch times that start at as early as 10:30 and go until after 1 o'clock. So just those are the things that I actually were happening before I retired, and because those large enrollments are not now simply part of YRE and only 3/4 of the kids are there at a time, we have some pretty big schools with some big needs. So thank you.
Thank you very much. I wanted to take a couple of moments to congratulate our boys and girls soccer team, at least particularly at Samurai High School. We know many of our students, attend our local schools, so as feeders, and both of those teams are in the playoffs. In fact, our boys soccer players are currently competing, and so I'm curious to see how that goes. But major props to our coaches here in our district, because the work that you all are doing to help to prepare them for success at the high school level. So I wanted to give our staff props for that. And then also in particular, our boys basketball players at Santa Maria High School are league champions, and that hasn't happened since 40 years. And so again, the investments we're making in our young people are paying off as they continue in their education. So thank you so much to our staff, our coaches that are involved with our young people when they're younger. And I just, for me, sports is such an important part of a well-rounded education. I know not all of our students engage in sports. Some prefer chess, some prefer robotics, some prefer overlap in all of those areas. But I know in my experience, it definitely helps to build confidence and teamwork and a growth mindset. So I'm just really appreciative of all of our staff and all of those different after-school programs and things that are available for our young people. I want to switch gears now over to talk a little bit about some of the ICE activity that's been happening in our community. Unfortunately, that's continuing to cause a lot of disruption, a lot of anxiety, depression for members of our community. It's really hard to grasp actual numbers since members of our community are being abducted and kidnapped. But I've heard of figures here in Santa Maria as high as up to 300 people or more. And so that figure is extremely alarming. And I wanted to take a moment to share a policy that we just actually updated, a board policy. It's actually in our consent items, and so it's easy to miss unless you take the moment to like flip through the packet, which is quite thick. So I just wanted to take a moment to update you all on what this board policy is, because it's essentially a reassurance that we want to protect our students, that we want to protect our community, that we stand with our immigrant community, and we don't want anybody to feel unsafe at school or here on the Central Coast. So I'll take a moment to read the updated policy. It's policy 5145.13. It's titled Response to Immigration Enforcement. And it reads, the governing board is committed to the success of all students and believes that every school site should be a safe and welcoming place for all students and their families, irrespective of their citizenship or immigration status. District staff shall not solicit or collect information or documents and shall not seek or require information or documents to the exclusion of other permissible information or documents regarding the citizenship or immigration status of a student or the student's family members. And that is Ed Code 234.7. In accordance with law, Board Policy 0410, Non-Discrimination in District Programs and Activities, and Board Policy 5145.3, Non-Discrimination / Harassment, no student shall be denied equal rights and opportunities, nor be subjected to unlawful discrimination, harassment, intimidation, or bullying in the district's programs and activities on the basis of the student's or family's immigration status, or for the refusal to provide information related to the students or immigration status, or students or families' immigration status. And that's Ed Code 200, 220, and 23.4.1. The superintendent or designee shall notify parents, guardians regarding their children's right to a free public education, regardless of immigration status or religious beliefs, and their rights related to immigration enforcement. And that's Ed Code 234.7. The superintendent or designee shall develop procedures for addressing any immigration-related requests by a law enforcement officer for access to district records, school sites, or students. The superintendent or designee may provide training to staff regarding immigration issues, including information on responding to a request from a law enforcement officer to visit a school site or to have access to a student. The superintendent or designee shall report to the board in a timely manner any request for information or access to a school site by a law enforcement officer for the purpose of enforcing the immigration laws. Such notifications shall be provided in a manner that ensures the confidentiality and privacy of any potentially identifying information. And that's Ed Code 234.7. And so my takeaway essentially from this policy, right, is that we're going to do everything we can to protect our students and our families and keep each other safe. And so I just want to remind folks that that is top of mind for many of us. And I want to continue to make sure that our staff also feel well equipped to, take care of our young people and our families. And so let's continue to look out for each other, to protect each other. And thank you very much.
Thank you, President Cabral, sorry. I don't have much. I just want to thank our CSEA president who's here, Melissa Gutierrez, as well as our SMEA president who's here, Kristen Lohr. Really appreciate the partnership that we have and continued partnership that we built together here in Santa Maria. And one of the things that I've talked to my staff about and will continue to work with our public information officer is my ability to communicate more directly with Santa Maria staff. And we are working on a communication, whether that be a video spot or some type of communication to talk about some of the things that are going on at the district or things that are going on with our students and in our classrooms and with our staff. And so more to come on that. But I just wanted to say that that is a goal of mine, is to increase that direct communication with all of our staff. As you may have heard, we have now a district-wide ballet folklore program that currently extends to 15 of our elementary schools. I want to thank Lisa Paniagua, program specialist with teaching and learning, supplemental programs, for her work helping bring that to fruition. There are a number of ballet folklore showcases taking place Thursday and Friday at our schools, if you can make it. We have on the 19th, Rice at 2:30 and Bruce at 4. And 2:30 to 3 at Rice and 4 to 4:45 at Bruce. And then on the 20th, that's Friday, Sanchez Elementary will be at 1:45 to 2:30, and Tunnel will be from 4 to 4:45. Those are some ballet folklore showcases that will be happening at those schools tomorrow and Friday. Also, I want to congratulate the 3 SMBSD robotic teams that are advancing to the state championship March 13th and 14th, following their performance last month at the Coast Fusion VEX tournament at Tommy Kuntz. Great work by all of the schools that participated in this robotics tournament. All 3 of our schools moving on to the state earned the Teamwork Champion Award. That's Tommy Kuntz Junior High, Sanchez Elementary, and Jimenez Elementary. And so I want to congratulate them as well. Nice job. And that is all my comments for tonight. So thank you.
Thank you. Great news. And so with no further business, may I have a motion to adjourn? Oh, yeah, sorry. I'm jumping the gun here. I want to get out of here. The next regular board meeting for the Santa Maria Bonita School District will be held Wednesday, March 11th, 2026 at 6 p.m. And with that, meeting's adjourned, 7:34.